So one thing with this new situation is I think some of my insecurities had started to resurface. I remember on this particular project, I was assigned a scene and I was looking at the Leica and what I had to work with, and I didn't feel like I could handle it. And I remember going to my supervisor and saying, like, I can't do this. I can't do this. This should go to a senior. Why are you giving it to me? And, he was nice enough. He took it back. And I remember looking at the rendered movie clip after it had been animated. I saw what the other animator had done with the scene. I was like, oh, that was it? And so we kept going, right, on this project. And a little while later, there was another scene that I was handed. I was like, well, I can handle most of it, but there's just one bit at the end. I don't know how to do this. And again, I talked to my supervisor. I was talking about this, like, really, this should go to a senior. Like this little bit right here, I can take care of that. And this was on unit rate. So I said, I'm willing to claim just these frames, most of the scene, but just this little bit at the end, I don't think it can handle it. And again, I saw when it was done, I was like, oh, that was it. And that's when I decided, no, I'm going to trust my supervisor. A good supervisor will only assign to someone what they think they can handle. I talked about a little bit earlier about, maybe once in a while pushing the skill level up. But a supervisor will only assign what they trust can be done by the person. After those two instances, I thought, no more. If I'm not sure how to tackle a scene, I will discuss it with the supervisor. How would you do this, right? In most of my career, I've gotten into the habit of, if I bring up a problem, I want to at least bring up a solution. If I encounter something, I want to discuss it with my supervisor before doing anything that strays from what the Leica says, right? But if I encounter an issue, I want to find at least one solution. Ideally, there'd be 2 or 3, but sometimes you're limited, and I at least want to have something to pitch a direction. So I was going to get back to doing that. From that point on, I decided I will trust that the work that's given to me, that my supervisor trusts, can be done by me. I should maybe go back a little bit too and say, the way Studio C worked is you had your main animation team and then a revision team to basically polish the animation before it went out to the client. Some studios basically just have everything go back to the same animator until it goes out to client, and then when they get the client notes, that's when the revision team comes in, basically to meet the client's requests, what they want to change, right? But Studio C has a revision team before it goes out to the client, which has its pros and cons. Like, the good thing about it is you get much more consistency across the board throughout an episode. It's not as evident where one animator's sequence ended and another one started. The downside is you have animators out there who look to do the minimum, and if they know it's going to be revised anyways, then, let someone else do the work. That being said, let's go back to the concept of people will remember you by the problems you solve or the problems you create. So I meant to say that when I saw revisions on the scenes that I had done, I would always take some time in the week. Usually it was on the Friday afternoon when I was too tired to be very productive. I could take an hour or two and just look at the scenes I had submitted and the revisions that were applied, and I would compare them. I would try to see what were the changes. At the time, I didn't see the director notes on the scenes. So there were some revisions, really. There was a new version of the scene, but I couldn't tell. So in a way, that's good to see that I was so close, that something so minuscule that couldn't be spotted immediately was all that was needed. But at the same time, it was still something small, and they felt they had to go in and change. This is where I had some discussions with, the directors to try and figure out and really hone in on what it was that they were looking for. But just the exercise of comparing, right, the two versions of the scene did a lot for me to really understand what it was that they were looking for and what they felt was important for a production.